everyone. Welcome back to another episode of What's the Rate? I am your host, Breonn Lyons, and this is the show where we get into the raw and the real of pursuing creative success as a self-funded artist in your 20s in New York City. And today I am here with actress, you might see her on the Tina Turner tour, okay, Broadway, Miss Mya Bryant. Welcome, Mya.
Hey, Breonn, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So, before I introduced the show, we were reminiscing on our days when we worked together in retail, okay, in the
Yes.
trenches.
The literal trenches, like 40 hours a week, like so many different customers coming in, yelling at us, no reason. It was really crazy. Girl, that was crazy.
Yeah, and the work environment was
It was
garbage.
really, really unique. Some things were not that serious. It was really the trenches, but we got through it together. And like, look at us now. It's kind of crazy that we became friends there, and then we both found our own success and our own paths, and like reconnected. Like, this is amazing. I love us for this.
I do too, yeah, especially, and we're a lot happier now, you know what I mean? Because we both
Mhm.
are in our element, you know?
Yes.
And I remember when we were, what was that place called? The back area.
Girl, I know what you're talking, the back and the downstairs and like the
It was behind the self checkout.
oh, I know what you're talking about. Yes, where people would come get. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and we were back there, and I remember we were just talking about like moving here because you're from Texas.
Mhm. Yes, yeehaw. This ain't Texas. Yes.
We hold on, okay. But I remember you had told me about like how you felt about moving here and like
Mhm.
just like trying to like find your community and things like that, and I
Mhm.
really resonated with that, and I think that's also part of the reason why we were able to bond and like even become friends is
Mhm.
because we both understood that narrative because it's hard,
Mhm.
coming here with nobody
Mhm.
and
And
in pursuit of your dreams. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, because a lot of people from my school had moved up there, but it was, people in years prior to me, or a lot of my friends are working actors. They're all on contracts, and I happened to move during the winter to the city, which is, rent is cheaper, but it's a lot lonelier. It gets darker sooner, and it's hard to find community, especially when you're working so much, because I think that work life balance was really hard to find because you're trying to balance work so that you can actually afford to live in the place, and then also life so that you don't go crazy and you meet friends. And it was so difficult. It was so nice to like meet you and meet somebody else that understood how that goes and how that is, so that I could have someone to talk about it with, even at this work life that was taking over most of my life. Yeah, it's hard moving out there and trying to find community, especially with the hustle culture of New York. Like, most people are there just to make connections, which is great, but you need some connections that are just human to human connection and not like human to work to next step.
Absolutely. Yeah. So tell us about just like your mindset while we were there or just in that transition period for you until you had booked. I don't know if it was Tina Turner or if it was the cruise.
I booked a regional contract in another state, like doing another musical. And as soon as I got that, I was like, okay, this is the next step. Because moving to New York, I was just moving there to get adjusted, to get the feel. I'd never lived in the city before, and this was immediately post college. So my idea was to work as much as I could so I could afford to live there, but then still audition when I could. And I don't know, I was honestly in a place where I was like, should I be doing this? Is it worth it? I was so miserable working so much, and I felt like I had no time to myself just because being in the city could be so hard. And then again, it was winter, so it was very lonely. I had a lot of people and friends on other contracts and tours, and I just felt like I wasn't able to like find myself in my community for a minute there. But I didn't give up. I kept auditioning, and eventually something found me. And I'm a big believer in what's meant for you will find you. And so something found me, and it got me out of there. And I went and did that contract, and it gave me the fire to keep going, to start auditioning again and again and again. And then I ended up moving out of the city and going to work at Disney for a little bit, just doing the Disney College program, which honestly was such a great experience. I loved doing that. And while I was there, I had also been auditioning for the Tina Tour. And then I got that, and I was so excited. It's been such a great journey, a great experience.
'Cause it just hits different because we were in the same situation
Hmm.
and we knew what we were here for, right?
Hmm.
And then now that we are I don't want to say where we want to be, but we're headed in that direction, and we made that progress, and we're happier, like I was saying at the beginning. So I'm so proud of you, Maya.
Thanks, girl. You too. Like, it's just so crazy that we met at our retail job and then we had, yes, had these conversations sitting there at work. Like, my gosh, like, I'm just here. I want to make this happen. And this job is temporary. I think that was a big thing that helped me get through all of it was like, I was sitting there every day and it was frustrating. It was such a interesting environment to work in, but, remembering that it was temporary and it was the stepping stone to help me get to where I was going next. Like that really helped keep my sanity. And like to see you thriving too. Like I've been following, you on Instagram and watching all of your success. It's like, wow, we really did it. Like we both said that we were going to when we worked for it. And I think having a friend there, like finding a connection in my I call it my survival job. Like that really helped keep me going. And like now we can cheer each other on.
Yeah, and even in Tina Turner, I believe you have some friends that are in there as well. Yeah, and you have
Yes.
Callie in
Mhm.
there too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I told Callie that I knew. She was like, "Oh my God, I know her. We went to school together." I was like, "That is crazy." Like the way the world comes around, which is also funny because Callie and I actually went to the same preschool and we did not know that. We are both from Houston. We're both from the same area. Went to the same preschool and have lived in Houston our whole lives, have never crossed paths until this show. But we have so many mutual friends. It's actually insane to me.
Wow. No, yeah. One of my guests, she grew up with an actor that was on one of Callie's films, and I was
Mm,
photographing for it, and she was like, "Yeah," and I wrote this show with Booker. I was like, Booker Vance, I know Booker because I know Callie, so it's so cool
yes.
how it all like marries and
Mhm.
comes together. I want to talk more about the hustle and how you balance auditioning with surviving and things like that. And what does that look like for you? How do you replenish yourself, stay grounded, and also stay rested?
Yes, so the hustle culture was not something that I was at all used to before moving to the city because, like I said, I'm from Houston, Texas. It's very slower paced. I mean, it is still the city, but I'm more from the suburban area. So moving to the city was a very big change because everyone is constantly moving around and trying to get to where they need to go. And in the South, everyone is very like stop and hi, how are you, and tell you their life story at the grocery store. So that was a huge adjustment leaving college is going into this like grind and hustle culture and people are there to make a connection and not always there to talk. Um, I find that it was easy for me to be drawn to people that were more inviting. I didn't, something about being in the city, you will find your people. I feel like for a second there, I was like, I'm never going to meet anyone that I connect with. But I think it just takes time. I think it takes going to places that bring you joy to find your people. A lot of people like going out to bars and clubs and things, and I found that I really liked going to parks and being outside because the city can be very dark and loud and overwhelming. So going to do things outside really helped keep me grounded. I love to go on a walk. Like even me and my friends, we would just walk up and down the streets of the city and just talk instead of going to sit down somewhere inside just to reconnect with the earth. I really love being outdoors. Um, I also, yeah, you just have to really commit to balancing that work schedule with that audition schedule. What was happening was the way I was scheduled was not lining up with when I needed to go to auditions, and I couldn't call out of work because I needed money. But it was about like making the connections with coworkers, being able to switch around shifts and being like, hey, like I know you really wanted to work this day, so can I switch around this? It was very schedule based. And I really had to commit to being organized because I was not that way at all in college. Like I would very go with the flow as a person, but committing to a schedule to try to really work around things. Basically, everything I've done in my life has led me to this point, and I've worked to get to everything I am. Like, I feel like there's the question that people are like, "Are you shocked that you even got here?" And it's like, kind of yes, but also no. I worked so hard to make sure that everything I did got me to this point, and if you won't do it, somebody else is out there doing it. And you have to want it bad enough. You have to make the time for it. I feel a lot in college and a lot growing up when I was doing community theater, there was a lot of things that just came my way and it was so great. But at a certain point, you have to also put in the work. You have to make time for the things that you want to do, make time to grow. And so that's what I did a lot of. And then I also, grounding myself, yes, going to the park. I liked going thrift shopping. I like to find new things in the city to do that aren't always like going to eat. I feel like everybody loves to go eat and go to a coffee shop. And honestly, I don't drink coffee. Like I was tired of going to coffee shops. I said, let's go to a board game cafe. Let's go to. I've always wanted to go to Happy Medium, the art cafe. You go and you order like bowls and stuff to make. I've never been, but everyone says it's good. And that's something that I think is a different experience. Just trying different experiences in the city. And also finding things that are free to do in the city helped me ground myself and keep my sanity because I had no money, girl, when I was living there. It was terrible. But finding those museums that are free and finding those art galleries that are free and you meet people that are similar to you, also trying to do the free stuff and find art and create art in the city. That's more how I met people, is doing things like that. Rather than trying to do the most expensive thing or going to the club at night. Like I just prefer to do things outside during the day just so I can meet other people that also enjoyed art and also talking to people. And I'm really shy, but you gotta get out there and be, I love your shirt. Did you thrift that? And then get a conversation going because a lot of times people are just waiting for someone to say something to them. Like they also want to have a conversation, but they're waiting for somebody to make the leap. And I feel like that's how I made a lot of my friends, was just taking a leap and being like, hey, I love your hat. Thanks, I thrifted it here. Oh my gosh, I've never been there. That gets a conversation going. And you make a lot of connections.
Nice. I want to talk about representation. Um, so I remember when we had met Kate. You remember Kate Flanagan?
Yes,
I
yes.
still
And
talk to her.
oh my God. Yes, I still follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, so I remember she was telling us about like our film reel and things like that. So actually, I want to talk about that. So tell me how, what was it from that point on in terms of getting all of your audition materials and things together for backstage or even for Tina, just like getting all of your materials together?
So in college, they went over a lot of like how to make these reels and everything. And I kind of learned through experience and asking my other friends, just getting material that represents you the best. I feel like there was so much of me that was like, I need to fit into this box and I can only play these roles. But really, in my reels and in anyone's reels, they want to see your personality. So I tend to just find songs that I love to sing for my vocal reel, find songs that I love to sing because it'll come through on the camera since all of this is virtual. And I just put together what I feel like I sound the best on, what I feel like showcases me as a person the best. And the same with dance. I find clips of me dancing that I saw had joy in them, and I find routines that bring me joy. And sometimes I'll just take a class online and learn that. And then we're traveling so much here. We have a lot of dance studio spaces. So I'll go in a dance studio and just have a friend record and then just keep updating my reels, just to showcase the best of what I have to offer and showcase who I am as a person. And then I send that to people. And then, if they like me, they call me back. I'm like, thanks.
You have an agent right now.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so if you are comfortable, I would love for you to tell us about the process of getting that agent and how you secured your
Yeah.
representation.
Yeah, so there's quite a few ways to secure representation. My agency was looking for new clients to intake, so I just went ahead and submitted to them. And I just sent them my dance reel, my vocal reel, and then I sent them a resume. And then from there, they watched it and they saw that they were interested in me and they wanted to have an interview. So we had an interview, just chatted a little bit about myself, who I am, where I see myself in the industry, and where they saw me in the industry and what they could do for me, how they worked. And we saw thought it was a good fit, so then I went ahead and signed with them, and I've been with them since August, actually. Yes.
Oh, okay, so this is fairly recent.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you find that with representation in your experience that you already had to have some pretty um like hefty stuff underneath your belt in order for them to kind of like look at you and be like, okay, yeah, like we are interested and this is a potential fit for us, things of that nature?
Not at all. Not in my experience. I think that varies from agency to agency. But the thing with agents is that they want to see that you can work and that they can use you. So truly, if you are your authentic self and you have a lot to offer, a lot to put forward, then they will take you. I think agencies also can be a lot, they can be very based on connections. So I would say a lot of people, if they go to certain colleges, are connected with some agencies more easily than people that didn't go to those colleges. But mine, it was very. I didn't have Tina Turner tour on my resume yet or anything. I had a bunch of regional contracts that were pretty good. But I wouldn't say I had the most professional experience on my resume before I submitted to them. But I just submitted and they see the potential and they see where you can go. And it's about finding an agent where their goals and beliefs align with yours so that they push you to get to the next step. You really need an agent that you know believes in you. Because if they believe in you, you guys can have a great partnership. You can go very far.
How has your vision of success changed as you have grown and got to where you are now versus to when you first had the vision of what you wanted to be?
Yeah, my vision of success has changed so much since working professionally out of college. I feel like I had this idea that I had to achieve certain goals at a certain age just because right now, like, I'm friends with a bunch of people in the industry, and you see people going to Broadway, going to Netflix, doing this, that, and the other, and you build this game of comparison of, oh, I haven't done this yet, so this is not as big, or this isn't as exciting because my friend's on an equity tour, my friend's doing this or that. And after working in the spaces that I have, my vision of success is feeling fulfilled in my career and also being able to support myself, because I feel like no success is worth it if you are unhappy with what you're doing. I could be making so much money and just so miserable, I've learned, because before I was going to be an actor, I was supposed to go to nursing school, which would have been great and is a solid career. But I had volunteered in a hospital for a little bit in high school, and I realized that was not what I was passionate about, and that I would just not be as fulfilled if I wasn't performing. So I think if I feel fulfilled in whatever I'm doing, I think that to me feels like more success than just doing something that I don't feel passionate about. When I perform, I mean, it fills me with so much joy, but I also want to be that person that like somebody in the audience sees on stage that's like, okay, wow, like this is why I enjoy art. This is why I enjoy theater. So I remember being a kid and looking on stage, and honestly, I didn't see too many people that looked like me on stage, which you don't think it affects you as much as it does when you get older, but it really does. I looked on stage and I didn't see a lot of black girls that looked the way that I did, or up there dancing or singing or doing a whole lot. And my parents did try to expose me to that. But back then, I feel like casting wasn't as diverse as it is now. There wasn't this initiative to push for it. So now I like being on stage and being up there and like doing art that shows girls that look like me, little kids that look like me, that yes, you can be doing this also. I want to inspire other people. That could be their first show that they've ever seen. And it's like, okay, this is what gave them the bug to like theater. So I think that is what's most important to me, is feeling fulfilled in what I'm doing and making an impact on someone else with what I'm doing versus just immediately getting to Broadway at 23 and being stressed and not being happy in the show that I'm doing. I don't think there is a timeline for success. I feel like that always clouded my vision, that there was this timeline that you have to do this, and that by 26, 27, because you do see so many people achieving success so young right now, or just as we're getting out of college, the people we're around, like some people are going to achieve success in the next year or two, and some people will achieve it 5 years from now in a different way. But those are not correlated, because someone's success is not your loss. They don't equate to each other. And so I think I really had to get out of that mindset that there was this timeline that I needed to be on. And I think growing up in the South really contributed to that. Growing up in Texas and this like Southern Christian Texas bubble, there's a very clear path of, you go to school and have a high school sweetheart and go to college, get engaged, get married, have a kid, and all of that is supposed to be done by a certain age, around like 27. I would say I see a lot of people are kind of done with the whole family established career thing, and with what I do, that is just not something that exists. So I really had to break that cycle and find my own version of what success is. And I think if I'm fulfilled and I'm happy and I'm, constantly still working towards the next big goal, I think that's what success is for me. So I currently do feel very successful, and I'm very happy about that. And I'm just going to keep working to see what the next thing is going to be. And whatever it is, it will find me. It will not pass me by. And I just think sticking to that has helped me tremendously, like, in this career.
So, are you able to talk a little bit about Tina Turner?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like, this tour has really been such a crazy experience for me. I've had so much fun. I've made lifelong friends here. I've never been on a tour before, so I was really nervous. I was like, how do I pack my whole life into two suitcases for 10 months? Because we've been touring from, I think we started rehearsal August 16th or 17th, and we're going to finish up in about 2 weeks at the end of June. So it has been a pretty long tour, seen a lot of places. I'm exhausted all the time, but in a good way. So that's something I didn't expect. I think the worst part of it has been not having a kitchen because I can only order McDonald's chicken nuggets so many times in the week before I'm like, all right, I need a vegetable, you know? But other than that, it's been great. We've had a lot of crazy times. I have a lot of crazy stories from being on stage. Just the other day, I was doing the paddle turns at the beginning of Proud Mary. We do like these three really fast turns and then a couple, little bit more choreography. And I spun so hard, and I don't know what I did, but I slipped and I literally fell on my behind on stage, and it was so embarrassing. And by the time I got up, I was like, we're in a different part of the dance. But it's like you just get up and keep going. And it's just we have so many funny stories from things that have happened here. Like it really has been such a great experience. And I wouldn't trade it for anything, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I miss about doing theater, like with a group and doing a show and like being in rehearsals and stuff, is that bond you get from like spending hours together and like,
Yes.
bonding over the material and the music and the choreography and things like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Wait, so are you able to tell us how did you get Tina? So, get
Mhm.
go from the beginning, like before you even knew about it, when you auditioned for it, when you saw the
Mhm.
post, like things like that.
Yeah, yeah. So I used Actors Access. I use Actors Access for basically everything. And I saw there was an audition for Tina, for the musical, just for the I Get tracks, the dancers and the ensemble. And I was working at Disney at the time. I was still auditioning. I was like, well, let me just submit my reels and see if I get anything. So I submitted my reels on Actors Access, and then I got an EcoCast, a request to audition. And they just wanted me to send back a couple of sides and then a song from the show, and then they asked for a fun fact. And I love asking my other cast members what they did for their fun fact. Because for my fun fact, I said that I knew all of the choreography from the Cheetah Girls 2 to Step Up. And then I attached a clip of me doing Step Up from the Cheetah Girls 2. And really, I think that showed them personality. It was Step Up. Yeah, I attached that in my audition clip, my initial audition. And then I got a call back to come in person. And I was like, thank you guys. So that first callback that we did, we just did some choreography. They taught us some dances from the show, and then they asked all of us to sing a song of our choice. And honestly, after that audition, I did not think there was no chance that I thought that I had this job at all. I literally thought my song was so bad. My choreography was okay, but I was like, I don't think I got this, but that's okay because I had fun. It was just a really fun audition. I remember the room just being a really great, positive environment, especially because it was only for the ICAT ensemble, so it was all Black women in the room. And I had not been in an audition room where it was just Black women in the room. And it was just so uplifting to talk to everyone. I feel like there's something about an energy because we all understand each other in the space and we all see each other. And there was this positive energy that everyone was cheering each other on. And I just remember feeling so good in the room because of everyone that I was surrounded by. It was just such a good environment. So we did that. And then I ended up leaving the city. And then I think about a week or so later, I got another call back, and it was like to come back and do some more material. So I came back and we did more choreography, like longer chunks of choreography to see if we had the stamina. And I was so out of breath. I remember just smiling so hard so they couldn't see in my eyes that I was exhausted because I was doing Proud Mary, and I was like, I like it was crazy, and I just had so much adrenaline, and I wanted it so bad at that point because I was so shocked to get another call back. We went in and we did a little bit of Proud Mary, and I was not initially called in for the role that I play now. I play Alline Bullock, so I play Tina Turner's sister in the show, and I was called in for an ensemble track, just one of the ICATs. And then they asked if I could stay and do some of the Alline material, and I was like, yes, of course. And I had glanced at it, but I did not know any of it. And I was sitting in the audition room memorizing it as I was sitting there. So I had a couple of other people go before me, so I had a chance to look over it. And I knew the song already. We'd already had to learn the song, so I was just learning the scenes. And I went in to do the scenes, and they thought it was really funny. I remember them really liking what I was doing. And I remember getting to the song, and there was a part of the song that was a little bit hard for me to sing. It was just a bit out of my range. And the music director, he was so kind. He talked to me. He was like, I know you can sing these notes, and like, really just, he was giving me a few tips on this song and how to get there and like what he wanted to see, just giving me some more notes. And I did it again, and they were really happy with it. And then about a week later, I got an email that said that I had booked the job in that role. And I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, I booked my first Broadway national tour. Like, it was one of the best feelings. And calling my mom right after that to tell her, like, hey, like, I booked a Broadway national tour. And she was just so excited. She was just screaming. And like, my grandmas were at the house. She was like, you guys made it. It was just such a great feeling. Like that whole process was so good and so fun. Like I loved doing it, and yeah, it was a dream come true for me in the moment. I was so excited to book this tour.
Yeah, and then after that, what was next? You had to pack, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I still was working at Disney doing the Disney College program, and I was supposed to be there longer than I was there. And so I had to figure everything out. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to be in Florida for this long. So now I have to figure out like when I'm going to end this and rework everything with my job. I had to go home for a few days and like pack up all of my stuff and like, say bye to a bunch of people. And then I had to be in the city like really, really quickly. I had to be in the city a month later, I believe, from when I found out that I got the job. So I had to wrap up everything at Disney and then go home, pack up my life, and then go to New York City to start rehearsing for the show, which was a crazy experience. I had the best time during our boot camp, and then meeting everybody and having this rehearsal process. It was really a once in a lifetime experience. I was so grateful.
Where'd you go to college again?
Yeah, I went to school in Texas. I went to Sam Houston, so it's only like an hour and a half from me. So I was pretty close to home. I honestly didn't go home too much just because like I wanted to still have my college experience and stay on campus a lot. But I don't regret going to school in Texas. I saved a lot of money since I lived there, and I had a great experience. Like all of my best friends I made in college. It was a great experience for me. I wouldn't trade that for anything either. And it's great to see all of my other friends working. I had a few friends on other tours. One of my friends did Beetlejuice about a year or two ago, and one of my other friends just wrapped up Mean Girls. So it's nice to keep in contact and see what all of us are doing now that we've graduated. It's really great.
Houston to New York to Florida, back to New
Yes,
York, and then on tour.
yes, yes.
Girl,
Crazy timeline.
you was out there. Okay.
Yes.
So you talked to us about community. So I take it that you have a pretty strong community. So tell me about that.
Yes, I have strong communities in multiple places now, which I'm so grateful for also. At home, I don't have any siblings. I'm an only child, which is a unique experience, but my parents are such a strong community for me. And they've supported me so much through all of this, like all of my crazy things. Because right after college, I was like, I want to move to New York. And they were like, oh my goodness, because they live in Texas. My dad is from Texas and my mom's from Colorado. And New York is this foreign place to them. And they were like, oh my goodness, but we'll figure out how to help you do it. And they have helped me through everything. And yeah, they've just supported me through so many things. I can always call my mom and talk to her if I have any questions. And she loves to help me self tape for something. If I need a reader and no one is available, I'm like, hey, mom, could you read? She's like, yes, I can read. Like, she's living her acting dreams through me. She loves to help me film a self tape or sit there while I film the songs and just watch and give me feedback. And she is the most honest person with her feedback. So I do like to ask her. She'll be like, I just feel like you could have emoted more here, or maybe find this intention, which is so funny because my mom knew nothing about theater until I started doing it. And now she is a theater expert. She loves musicals and Broadway, and she just loves to be there and know everything so that she can help me be the most successful. And up in New York, I have a strong community too, just based on friends that I've met throughout different contracts. Now we're all based in New York. Most of us here on this tour are based in New York. So even on our breaks that we've had, we'll be up in New York and we'll take a dance class together or go see a show or go have a drink. And it's so nice to know going back to the city that now I do have a community, because there was a time when I didn't, and I didn't know who I could talk to or call, and I felt very alone. And now the city feels like a very warm, welcoming place. And when you go to these auditions, you run into the same people over and over and over again. I run into the same 5'4" black girls at all these auditions. So it's you get to know the faces and you become friends and you're like, oh hey, how was this one? And I think that's also really nice, building the community with the other like black actors in the city, because there's only so many of us. There are so many, but there's also only so many of us, and it's nice to build that community and have that camaraderie in all of these auditions and these spaces, especially in spaces where we don't always necessarily see ourselves. It's nice to have someone to talk to about that and that feeling, and to make ourselves feel comfortable in a space that was not necessarily built for us.
What has Tina taught you about yourself this entire experience? How has it pushed you to grow as a person?
Yes, Tina has taught me to be very, very resilient. As I am so tired, but there's some days when you're like, I feel exhausted and I don't know if I can do it, but it's taught you to find the strength, and it's taught me a lot about how to take care of myself as a person, mentally and physically, to be able to do something like this every day, because it is a lot of waking up, getting on a bus, driving to a city, and then having 2 hours to eat, and then doing a show that night. And then you wake up the next day, get on a bus, and go to another city, do a show. And like, it has been a lot of that, which is a hard to explain if you haven't experienced it, but it is just a different toll on your body between rest and recovery time. So I've learned a lot about how to take care of myself mentally and physically so that I am able to do it. I love to find things that I like to do by myself. So I've loved to read on this tour. Really been big into audiobooks recently because I can just be doing my makeup and listening. Also, just going to do things by myself, going to the movies by myself, or finding shows I like to watch, walking in different cities that we have, just exploring, seeing if there's thrift shops. That has made me keep my sanity on this tour too, finding times to recharge and be alone. Um, it's also taught me to speak up for myself, I will say. I'm very bad about people pleasing and about not saying what I actually want and need. And Tina's story is very inspiring because, we get to see her go through this journey of like, I'm just going to do what people tell me because I'm scared. And finally getting to that point where she's like, I'm going to speak up for myself and say if I'm not okay with something and advocate for myself as an artist. And I think being on this tour has helped me learn to advocate for myself when I don't feel well enough to do something. Being able to be like, yes, I cannot do this, and I want to be able to be well for the next week or for the length of my career. So I'm going to speak up and say, if this is not okay with me. I think I had a really hard time with that in the past, but this tour has really helped me learn to advocate for myself as a performer. I think that is a really big lesson a lot of us have learned, is to advocate for yourself, because you have to be your biggest advocate and your biggest cheerleader. Um, and yeah, I think that's a super important thing that all actors need to learn, that you don't just have to do something because it's part of the job or because you don't want to be seen as difficult to work with. Sometimes you have to speak up for yourself and make sure that you're putting yourself, the human, first before you put yourself as the actor first. Because you are a human at your core.
So I am interested in like what a day in the life on the Tina Turner tour looks like.
On our typical days we've had on this tour, let's say like a day that it's the first day in the venue. We will usually, if we're driving into the show, because we are a bus and truck tour, so there are days where we fly and there's days when we drive. So if we're driving into a show, we'll get up at like 6 or 7 in the morning and get on the bus, and we'll drive to wherever we're supposed to be, get there, and then there'll usually be about an hour and a half or 2 hours for us to settle at the hotel, get something to eat, and we'll all just like Uber Eats or we'll walk somewhere depending on what city we're in. We'll eat, and then we will all head to the theater around 5 p.m. is usually when we get there. And we'll do a company meeting, and they'll just go through everything about the venue, safety, if there's an emergency, anything that's cut from the show, because sometimes the theaters are built in different ways, so we'll have to cut a drop that comes in, like a curtain here or there. If there's any changes, any updates in the space, where everything is at, we're allowed to walk around the space and do it. We have to do a safety walk to make sure we know where everything is and that we know all of our traffic patterns. And then we'll head to a sound check. And sound check, we just hear ourselves. We do a couple of songs. We usually do the opening number, then we'll do another big group number, and the Tinas will sound check a couple of their songs. And at that point, our music director will let us know if there's anything he wants to check, because sometimes we have songs will be like, that sounded a little funky in the last venue. Like, let's go over that really quick. Like, let's just run this bit of this song. Or if we have somebody that usually doesn't play a role in that day, sometimes they'll be like, can I test this song just to see how it sounds? We'll go through that. And then after that, we'll go get ready for the show. They will have fight call. And they would also have lift call if we had lifts, but we only have fights in the show. So they will have fight call for all of the people that are in fights. I'm not a part of fight call in this particular show, but that'll run for about 20-30 minutes. And then we'll just get ready for the top of the show, which, just gets makeup, microphones. We'll go to all of our wig calls, stretch. We have a physical therapist that travels with us this entire tour, Emily, and we love her so much. So we'll go to Emily if we need anything physical therapy wise. So she'll do cupping, she does needling, she rolls us out, she does scraping, she does everything that we would need to do for any part of your body. And she has a lot of tools and everything for us. At the beginning of tour, she did a session on telling us how to take care of our body and gave us resistance bands, things like that. She always has liquid IV. She always has Alline new because we always need an energy drink. It's crazy. And then we'll get ready for the show. And our show is pretty long. It runs almost 3 hours. So we have pretty long show days. And then post show, we'll just head back home. And we typically do something after the show if everyone's not tired. We've had a lot of game nights. Like, we love Uno, we love Phase 10. I'm the queen of Phase 10. I win every time. And we'll play just games, or sometimes, we'll go to a restaurant if it's still open. We get something to eat. And yeah, that's our typical day. It's not super crazy. There's some days where we'll have rehearsal during the day, but we don't tend to have a ton of that anymore as we're at the end of tour. But, towards the beginning, before we were still putting swings in and understudies in, during the day we might still have rehearsal on days that we had a show and days that we weren't driving into a show. But now it's pretty calmed down. I usually don't have to go to work until 7 p.m., so that's really nice, which I really enjoy. Tina definitely is. This has been my biggest contract so far, and this is something that I will remember for the rest of my life. This whole entire experience, just from meeting everybody and meeting new people and learning new skills and learning how to keep myself going. I learned a lot about my stamina and how to keep myself going in a contract this long, because a lot of regional contracts are so short. They're only a couple of weeks, only a month or two. And this being 10 months long, this is the longest contract that I've ever done. And, eventually getting to a Broadway contract, that's going to be months and months and months long. So just learning how to keep everything fresh and bringing new life to the show while still keeping the show's integrity, and learning how to take care of myself throughout this. That is something that I'll carry with me forever. I've also just made so many lifelong memories throughout this tour and made lifelong friends throughout this tour. Some of my friends were planning to go take a trip for my birthday after this tour ends, and I'm like, that is so crazy that I've made lifelong friends in 10 months. Um, it's something that I remember forever and I'll carry with me forever. And yeah, I don't think I could trade this for anything. I don't think I would trade my first tour for anything.
What is your favorite part about Tina? What's your favorite number, your favorite choreo? Tell us about it.
My gosh, my favorite thing to do in Tina is the number Higher. It's this super long number. It's the first time that Tina is performing like with Ike. They're doing the Ike and Tina Turner review. And it's just this super fun dance number. And there's so much going on. Like, we run on like the Four Eye Cats and we do this big like minute and a half long like opening to the number, and then Tina runs on in a dress that looks like ours in a different color, and it's like we have the boys and the band and they're all playing the instruments, stepping, and there's lights going in the back, and in the middle of the song there's all these scenes happening. Like, you're starting to see like what Tina's life was like on this tour. We're dancing, and then off stage Ike and her have these scenes, and there's contracts going with Rhonda, her manager. It's just this number that keeps going back and forth, and it just keeps going, and I think it's so fun to perform that one. And the finale also is my favorite thing to do, because it's the end of the show. It's after bows, and we're like, wait, don't leave. We have two more songs, and we do Nutbush City Limits, and we do the full version of Proud Mary, and everyone comes on stage by the end. Every single character comes in and does the choreography, and the audience is on their feet the whole song, singing along. It's just this big, bright, fun number, and everyone is so excited to finally get to stand up and sing along, because the whole show we see the audience like singing along to all the songs, like na, 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 na. And they finally get to stand up and do it with us and sing with us and dance with us, and it is just the best feeling at the end of this 3-hour show. Everyone just so excited to finish with Proud Mary. Everybody loves Proud Mary. It's just such a fun number, and like that feeling every night, like that makes me be like, okay, I love performing, like I love what I do. Like, we could have had the hardest show, and we get to the finale and everyone is so happy and the lights are bright and you see everyone in the audience going, woo, like Proud Mary, keep on burning. It is just the greatest feeling at the end of the show.
So how many shows do you have left?
We have ten shows left. Yeah, we finished. It's kind of crazy, like 10 or 11, something like a really small number. I was like, geez, like, I don't even know. I haven't been counting down, but yeah, we have like 10 or 11 shows left. It's kind of insane, because I think we hit our 200th show a couple weeks ago. I don't know. We've done quite a few. We've done so many cities. Like, I have to go back through and tally up how many we've done and like how many we're supposed to do. But yeah, we've done so many shows.
Okay, you said you thought it was gonna be a small number. I 10 is insane.
Yes, we did our 200th show. I remember how many weeks ago. I feel like it was maybe like 2 weeks ago. We took our 200th show photo. I was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy that we've done 200 of these. And we've done like, I want to say 50 something cities. That might be a lower number than actual. I know we were supposed to do 60 something cities, but we've had some cancellations with weather and things like that. We've done so many. But yeah, it is crazy to think now that we only have 10 shows left, when we started, we are like, okay, let's get started on 200 and something shows at the start of this tour. So having 10 left for me feels really crazy. And I don't think it's hit me quite yet. I think it'll hit me once we get to Alabama and we have 8 left. And we're like, whoa, like, that's crazy.
So, what do you plan to do after you wrap up this tour?
Sleep, take a break. Like, I'm going to take July to take a minute to breathe. I'm supposed to, oh, I'm going to see Cowboy Carter right after this ends. So I'm really excited. I'm going in Atlanta with some of my friends from tour. So I'm like, that'll be a nice, like, congrats on finishing the tour gift. And then I'm going on a cruise for my birthday at the end of July with some of my tour friends as well. And yeah, other than that, I mean, I just want to be at home with my family and take a minute to rest and just live in a house where there's a washer and dryer that I can use for free, and having home cooked food. I can't wait to be able to get home and cook and drive my own car and see all of my friends because we're all back home for the summer in July. I was talking to some of them a few days ago. So I just want to take a break and rest before I have to get back up to the city because after this, I'm going to move back up to New York. And yeah, and just start all over again and start the grind and the hustle again.
Now we're going to get into the What's the Rate segment. So instead of revealing your rate, you don't have to tell us your rate, but I will have you rate all of these topics 1 through 10, okay?
Okay.
So, work for exposure.
Say 6, depending on the work.
Always saying yes.
Say 7. I feel like early on in your career, saying yes to everything is a big proponent, but also advocate for yourself.
Contracts.
10. Love a contract. Put everything in writing, please. Always. Yes.
Fake it till you make it. Everybody's had different takes on this one, so I'm interested to hear yours.
Okay, fake it till you make it. 7. And I only say this because, truthfully, sometimes you gotta just pretend like you know what you're doing, and then eventually you will. Like, and it's, I mean, I'm not saying that you should lie about things, but sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I could do that. And you get in there and then they like your personality. For instance, I really don't tap. Like, I don't tap. But I definitely was in an audition. They're like, do you tap? Yeah, I could tap. I got it. And you know what? And I went in there and I bombed that tap call. It was crazy, but I booked every other show in that season. Like, they just liked my personality. So I think fake it till you make it kind of works. I mean, I can get around a little one too, but I wasn't the tapper they were looking for. I was like, I can figure it out.
Okay, work your way up.
Like 7 or 8. I think you can work your way up. I think you should constantly be on a going up, like trying to get to the next best thing. I try when I'm like looking for jobs and booking jobs. I'll get a job, and the next thing I get, I really want it to be a level up, And I think networking will help you work your way up. I think you have to make those connections in the place that you're at so that you can keep going to the next level.
Shadowing/internships.
I've never had to do internships in the nature of what I do, but I think those can be really beneficial. So I'd say 7.
Cold emailing.
Ooh, there's a lot of discourse with cold emails. I would say 6 and know your audience. I would say because some people like will see that cold email and be like, "Do not ever talk to me again. Do not want to hear from this person." But sometimes it works, and sometimes it's like, "Oh, okay, like sure, we'll give you a chance." So I think you have to know your audience and who you're sending the email to, because I think it can be really risky. But I also think that it could have a good outcome. I that is very situational. So I'm gonna say 6.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of What's the Rate. I am your host, Breonn Lyons, and we will see you on the next episode.